Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are back. We are so back. Week 1, full slate of games. Let's get it. Q&A. Obviously, there's a ton of news per usual. So the way that this works, drop your questions. As we go, we'll answer them. If you leave a super chat, it just means that it'll stick to the front so I can see it more and ensure that it gets answered. In terms of the news heading into this week, it's not like a lot of other weeks, right? Because, of course, it is week 1. And we've had like all of training camp to kind of understand players who had these high ankle sprains or these injuries and like know if they're going to hit IR or not, right? Or that's not usually the case week to week. Week to week, it's kind of a little bit more close to the vest. The questionables are like truly questionable. But for this week, we're really only sitting here for a couple pieces of news. Obviously, the Christian McCaffrey news, he's officially listed questionable. All reports say he's going to trend to playing, barring like some setback or him feeling something again in the pregame warmups. How much does he play? Who knows? But if he's starting, you're going to play him. I think he plays a decent amount. Other than that, like the only other questionable news that I think is important is Darnell Mooney, who considers himself a game time decision. But Darnell Mooney, this news should be coming out now in 28 minutes, an hour and a half before lock. Darnell Mooney is important. I do think he's a flex option in 12-team formats for sure. Especially if you have like your other injuries that you're dealing with, a Rashee Rice suspension and you took Mooney, stuff like that. Oh man, there's so many people hopping in. Let me know, by the way, when you get into the chat, not only your question that you have, let me know where you're tuning in from as well. Again, just a reminder, let me actually do something like that. There we go. Just a reminder, if you do leave a super chat, it does make it pop up so I can see it and you stand out and you ensure your question is answered compared to the, there's going to be thousands of people in here live. So if I don't answer your question, it's nothing personal. It's just that I'm only one man and there's literally going to be like 100 questions per minute will be my guess. Because it's fucking week 1, baby, and we're here to go. So really, it's just Christian McCaffrey news. We'll get that in the afternoon slate. I assume he plays unless something happens in pregame warmups based on all reports. And then it's Darnell Mooney, which I also assume he plays because he practiced limited for really like the past 2 weeks. And if that's the case, he is a flex option in your deeper leagues. I'll be referencing my projections and rankings for this slate that were updated this morning. So let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let me know where you're tuning in from, as well as your question, and let's get going here. Nick Chubb or Charbonnet today? It's going to be Nick Chubb for me. Like, I don't think Nick Chubb is amazing, but I at least think he's going to get somewhat starter usage, which means 10 to 12 touches, where Zach Charbonnet, probably 6 to 8 if Kenneth Walker is healthy, which he is, and remains healthy for this game. Nick Chubb is my RB30 today, projected for 9.7 points. Charbonnet, my RB36, projected for 7.3. I got a question from Jacob, a $2 super chat. It says the message was retracted, Jacob. So I appreciate the super chat. If you want to get me that question, let me know. We see Muscles, one of our OG moderators, back from when we were doing NBA live streams in like 2020 and 2021 when I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina. Looks like you're still a moderator of the chat, so I appreciate that. If you see any quote unquote fuck shit going on in the chat, pause, right? We're going to get demonetized on YouTube already. Be sure to smack them around a little bit to make sure that they're behaving in the chat, because there's going to be some wild boys. Also, if you're watching this right now and you're like, why can't I ask Sal a question? You have to be a subscriber to the channel. It is completely free. The moment you subscribe, you have the ability to do that. I'm not doing that to boost up my subscriber count, although, it's a nice little side effect, just to avoid like bots coming in. Like bots are just like these random ass accounts that just will say the same question, or not even a question, just like put a link in there like 100 times. But that helps bypass it. $33 donation. It's an NT $33. I don't even know what kind of, I don't know if I'm now rich. I don't know if I could retire. I don't know what currency that is, but I appreciate it. No question was asked. So if you do have a question, be sure to ask it, and I'll get that answered for you. Sal, my question, Jose Morales in the chat, is coming from Boston, Massachusetts, a lovely city. I've been there probably 5 or 6 times. Every single time, whether it's the summer, the fall, or the winter, even yes, the winter, I've enjoyed it. What games excite you most, considering that there's a lot of rain concern in many of the games? So I'm excited for, overall, probably Packers Lions, a 3:30 game, a division game. I am a Packers fan, full disclaimer, but that's not the reason I'm picking it. Like, I'm just trying to come at this from a fantasy perspective. So many interesting fantasy aspects in that. What does the Packers offense look like with a healthy Jordan Love? What does Matthew Golden look like in this offense? Will Jaden Reed be playing in this offense, just injury-wise today? What does the Lions offensive line look like? What does their new offensive coordinator look like? How does it look with their rotation now with Isaac Tessa seeming like he's pressing for more involvement in that offense? How does the backfield look with a new offensive coordinator? So from a fantasy perspective, Packers Lions, to me, has the most golden nuggets in it. From a DFS perspective, it's also pretty interesting as well. I'm also interested about the Falcons game. I want to see how Michael Penix looks and how everything shakes up with that offense with Michael Penix in it. Similar things for the Bucs side of that. Seeing how it looks without Liam Cohn there, seeing how Emeka Egbuka looks. So those are some of the games that excite me from like a fantasy and also like real watching. Like those games should be quality perspective. So yeah, definitely. We're getting the super chats flowing in. I'm gonna get all these answered. I appreciate that a ton. We'll get to them as we get to them. $2 super chat from Mad Dog Raider. He doesn't even ask a question. He just donates. So I appreciate that. If you have a question, let me know. Egbuka or Henderson, a $2 super chat from Juan today. Let's actually look at the rankings here, right? Why not just pull up the rankings right now? So these are my rankings. I actually probably should have done this before. So let me do this quickly here so this doesn't mess everything up, because I think that's done that in the past. So these are my rankings, and I'll pull up the flex rankings, the top 150 flex rankings. The question was Egbuka or TreVeyon Henderson today. I think I know my answer. I think it's going to be Egbuka because he's a top 20 receiver for me when you take out the Thursday and Friday games that were already played. So if I pull it up, Egbuka is my top 20 receiver. He's my 43rd overall player, projected for 11.4 points, as you can see right here. If I pull down to TreVeyon Henderson in my top 50 flex rankings, 10.7 points, 55th overall. Both quality options today, definitely both flex-worthy plays. Egbuka, though, for me, in a lot of formats today, is a must-start, assuming you don't have 3 other stud receivers that are going to be playing ahead of him. So appreciate the super chat. What I was just showing, somebody asked, these are my top 150 flex rankings. The top 50 are completely free. Then the top 150 are within the blueprint. And then these are the positional rankings for every position. And even though 2 games were already played, I'm still projecting out to like 110 wide receivers, as you can see right here. Basically anybody who projects for a point in my system, 76 running backs. So no matter how deep your league is or shallow, these tools will help you. We'll reference them throughout the show today. Just a piece of what we're doing here. CMC is going to fail us this season, somebody says. So yes, obviously there's a huge bombshell piece of news with CMC. That came out Thursday. He felt something in his calf, did not practice on Friday. I'm not really that concerned with this. Like heading into the season, it was all like you knew the risks of taking CMC. All reports throughout training camp is that they were loading up his tendon properly and he felt healthy. Tendons, usually like you want a full year for them, but if you have the type of resources CMC has, you can probably come back from like some sort of tendonitis if it's being loaded properly and safely, which an NFL training staff and CMC are doing as his full-time job. And a lot of investment in him. Yeah, I think that you can come back easily, and usually 4 to 6 months is when like you're good to go for an average person, and then you could ramp up. I'd say he can expedite that. So, I mean, he had 8 months, a year now since he started to experience these symptoms for the first part. So him just feeling like some residual, or maybe it's just in his head because he's so hyper aware of his body. That's what it seems like Thursday was. Let's hope that's the case and he doesn't actually feel something today in warmups or during the game. But based on all the reports, that's what it seems like, is they were just being super cautious. As somebody who had hamstring tendonitis last year and heading into this year, even now when I do like certain speed workout days or run hills and things like that, in my head, I'm just thinking about it like, oh, does that feel weird? And then I take a day off or something and I'm like, fine, right? I'm not Christian McCaffrey. I don't play in the NFL. I'm not a professional, right? But that's just kind of like the mental side of injuries. They do linger, and there is actual science behind that. Mentally, you will hold on to injuries, which does store tightness and pain, placebo type stuff, compared to there actually being a physical ailment there. But with that all said, we'll find out an hour and a half before the game if he's active, and if he's active, you have to start him. All right, next question. Oh, we're getting so many questions in today. This is going to be a good chat. There's going to be thousands of people in here for week 1 because, we're fucking excited. $5 super chat. Appreciate that, Kimberly. Kimberly says, this was her second ever super chat, by the way. Appreciate you. Half point PPR. Do I want Golden or Downs in my flex? Well, let's just pull up my PPR rankings. So these are my wide receiver rankings right here. The column to the right is my point projections that I use about 15 or so variables to get those projections. I updated them this morning, so these are very recent. Look at this right here. Maybe the hardest question that will be answered on the stream all day today. It was asked Golden or Downs. My wide receiver 35 is Golden. My wide receiver 36 is Downs. Here's what I'll say. If you think that you're like a favorite or it's going to be a close matchup, I would start Downs because I think he has a better chance to secure 5 or 6 receptions in a half PPR format. If you think you're an underdog, maybe you started A.J. Brown, maybe you started Xavier Worthy, and you need to make up some points. I personally think Matthew Golden would be the play there because he has this unknown upside. We haven't yet seen it. We know that he has a chance to be the #1 overall receiver for the Packers today and has a lot of downfield usage. So if you're asking me for a guy that I think can score 20 today, and I feel maybe taking more of a risk there because you're an underdog, I'll take Golden. If you're just trying to get 10 to 12 because you think you're a favorite or you think it's a close matchup, I'd take Downs if that makes sense because it's so close in the rankings. So it really starts to come into floor-ceiling combinations. You must start one. Tetero, McMillan, or Egbuka. Oh, my God. I want to start both of these guys. But as you can see right here, Egbuka, my wide receiver 19 today. But McMillan's my wide receiver 13. So McMillan's a must-start for me today. He's projected pretty similar to guys like Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown. His player prop line opened at 6. Let me say that again. If you're not familiar with player props and all that, here's the context. Tetairoa McMillan's player prop for week 1 opened at 6. I took the under, by the way, because that's an insane line. For reference, Malik Neighbors' line opened at 6. Amon-Ra St. Brown's line opened at 5.5. Vegas thinks that Tetairoa McMillan is going to have similar target volume and catches today as Malik Neighbors and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't doubt that, but that's just to show you how much volume he's going to get when Xavier Legette is like his only top target competition with Adam Thielen gone and Jalen Coker hurt. Hey, Salomon, North Idaho. Where do you see Kincaid versus Loveland today? Hey, shout out Idaho. Shout out you today, Peter. What a lovely day to be in Idaho on a football Sunday to start the year. Between Kincaid and Colston, Loveland, it's easily Kincaid for me today. They're not even in the same tier. Kincaid's a top 15 tight end for me today. Loveland's not even a top 20. $5 super chat. Tuning in from Mexico. Shout out Mexico, man. I'm in Texas, so pretty damn close to Mexico. Pretty a quick travel if I wanted to get there. I need kicker. Who to drop? The JCM, Eckler, Chubb, or Junkins? Oh my God, you have to drop one of these dudes? I really don't. I mean, if you're not starting any of them, I'm dropping Chubb here. I don't want to drop Eckler. I don't want to drop JCM. I want to see how that backfield plays out week 1. And now that Junkins is signed and will play week 2, there's a good chance that weekly he's going to be around the top 30 running back moving forward. Whereas Chubb, outside of this week, I wouldn't be shocked if we're not using him much more in fantasy moving forward. Yeah. So there you go. $2 super chat. Bretton Strange, Loveland, and then a second part of this, Fields or Caleb Williams. I'm definitely going Bretton Strange over Loveland. In terms of Fields versus Caleb Williams, I'll show you just so you can kind of see here. I have Fields projected. He's my 12th quarterback for 18.2 points. Caleb Williams, 17.1, 18th. So it's Justin Fields there for me. Look, Caleb Williams on Monday Night Football, with an improved offensive line, Ben Johnson, more weapons. Like, I expect him to be better entering year 2. We saw that in their dress rehearsal in the 3rd preseason game. At least got to see a glimpse of it, and he looked good. The problem is he's facing Brian Flores in the Minnesota Vikings defense. He's going to face pressure all day long. I already took him for over a half an interception in the props market. That will come out tomorrow in that video that I made on the Sal Bets account. So yeah, I'll be taking Justin Fields there. Appreciate that super chat, by the way, as well. $2 super chat from Sean. Dublin, Ohio here. I thought he was going to say Ireland. Idaho here. Okay, Idaho's not bad either. Why am I saying Idaho? Ohio. I'm getting the Idaho and Idaho mixed up. My God. I only had 1 cup of coffee at the cafe this morning. Brutal. Dublin, Ohio. There we go. Sheesh. Murray or May today. Both of those guys are top 10 quarterbacks for me if you want to see in the projections. I mean, look at this right here. Drake May's a top 10 quarterback. I actually think you could start Drake May and should over Jordan Love. Brock Purdy's close because of ceiling outcomes, and Justin Fields. I'm going to be starting Kyler Murray. I know that he got put on the injury report with an illness, but he seems like he's playing. I don't even know why they put him on the injury report with an illness. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to threaten him missing the game. And like, once you're actually, if you have ever played competitive sports, and I know nobody in here or most likely has not played in the NFL, but if you've ever played competitive sports at all, high school, college, even an IM league, you know that once you're in the zone, like if you're dealing with a little bit of an ailment and illness, once you're locked in on the battlefield, whether it's flag football, volleyball, college football, whatever it is, you're locked in. Like, that cold you had, that sore throat you had, it goes away. It might get worse after the game, but it goes away while you're in there, right? With that adrenaline. Sutton or Pearsall, rest of season, half PPR. Cortland Sutton, easily. Yeah, not even close. I like both guys, but Cortland Sutton, easily. I'll have the first run of the rest of season rankings, by the way, up for all of the Blueprint subscribers on Wednesday this week. All the waiver tools will come out tomorrow. And then all the other tools come out throughout the week. Rankings, projections, updates, all that. Game-by-game matchup notes, which I think is very important. A lot of people have been saying they love that. This is for every single position that... look at this. So this is running back. We've been putting this together the last few years and made it better this year. Every single running back, RB1 and 2, so like that's why there's Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, because they're both fantasy relevant. I have game notes for all of them every single week, every single running back. So if you're like, oh, I don't know, like the matchup, so that's running backs versus defensive lines. This is wide receivers versus cornerbacks, which is so underrated. Obviously, a lot of the time they'll be in zone defense, but they'll be facing a lot of man coverage at times as well, 30% or more of the game. And you can see right here, all the matchups for fantasy relevant receivers. That's for every single position, updated every week for every single game. Blueprint members, already a ton of people were like, oh yeah, I was signing up for the waiver tiers and the draft guide and the weekly rankings, and I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. It fucking rocks or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of information, but it's helpful information, especially if you like do other stuff with it, like, player props and all that. The next question, $2 super chat. Olave, Keon Coleman, Mooney, Cedric Tillman in the flex. You can only pick one of these guys. I'm going to go Chris Olave. Chris Olave, different tier player there. Different tier player. Who would you play, Cade Otton or Loveland? I'd be playing Cade Otton here. Loveland's just not on my bingo card today. I think, no doubt about it, that today you're going to see a lot of Cole Kmet involvement. And that's tough. Or I guess this game is on Monday night, but that's tough for a rookie tight end that's already kind of tough to transition to the NFL, but especially when there's going to be another tight end involved. Like, I would be starting Loveland over Cole Kmet for sure, but they're just going to kind of eat into each other, at least as my projections for the early parts of the season. That Cade Otton for me is definitely the start there. Good question. Must plays for DK Cash, and is McCaffrey a risky play? McCaffrey is obviously a risky play since he felt something in his calf on Thursday. Now, do we think that he actually felt something based on the hops and the warm-ups he was doing on Friday? I think he's fine. I don't think if he would have felt something on Thursday that was actually a strain or actually something to do with the tendon flaring up, him doing hops on it and like jump hops on Friday, he definitely would have felt it. There's no doubt about it. So I think he's fine. But yeah, obviously there's risk. This is a 30-year-old running back or so coming off of a tendonitis issue, and just in general, older running back with the injury history. Of course, he's a risky play every week. For this week, if he starts, he'll definitely be lower owned. We just don't know if they're going to play safe with him and give him like 10 to 15% less usage than he would have seen. Must plays for DK Cash though. There's only one like I would consider guaranteed must play, and that's Emeka Egbuka. Like, in terms of my DraftKings rankings that I have for Blueprint members and projections and all that, only one player across all positions got an A grade for me. Usually there'll only be like 10 players all year that get an A. Emeka Egbuka got an A for me this week because, I mean, he's just so mispriced. He was priced before Chris Godwin news really came out. He was priced before Jalen McMillan news really came out, right? And before he even got so much hype in the preseason. So, yeah. Odunze or Egbuka in a flex? Easily Egbuka. I saw that you put James there. He put like the UG, like, oh, I'm dreading this decision. It's not even close. It's Egbuka. It's just not even in the same ballpark. Better overall offensive situation, easily the better matchup, probably less target share as well. Just Mike Evans for the most part. Abuka's a top 20 receiver for me. Doesn't mean Odunze's a bad play, but Odunze is my, as I pull it up right here, wide receiver 38. It's not even close. So when you put the UG there, I get it, like it's a tough decision for you. It's not. They're not even in the same ballpark. Emeka Egbuka is in a different stratosphere before the game start. When the game started, that could obviously change. Projections wise before the game, Egbuka is in a, Egbuka, I like that nickname, way different stratosphere than Odunze. Brock Purdy or Goff today? Definitely Brock Purdy. Sal's the GOAT. Oh, I appreciate that. Wilson, Kupp, or Hunter half PPR. Travis Hunter versus Garrett Wilson? It's definitely not Kupp. The answer is definitely not Kupp. Are you asking me Travis Hunter versus Garrett Wilson today? My answer is going to be Garrett Wilson. Good question, by the way. I could hear I have in my Let's Go Texas. Yeah, hook 'em. Shout out. I was at the game yesterday, actually. Big blowout. Arch looked good. I am concerned about Arch's shoulder, though. I think it's kind of being underreported. If you're in the weeds, you think it's a problem. There was a couple of throws yesterday. I went back and watched once I got home that I was like, that just like looked painful for him, and he's throwing and he's like grimacing. So there's something going on with this dude's shoulder. Shouldn't have been in the fourth quarter when they're up 31 points, and then he's taking a sack, but what are you going to do? Travis Hunter or Calvin Ridley is the question there. I'll be going with Calvin Ridley. Even in the tough matchup, I'll go with Calvin Ridley. Hey, pal, Goldman or Ridley today? Ridley for sure. Bad matchup for both. Yeah, bad matchup for both. But Ridley for sure. Yeah, line secondary is going to be much improved for those that don't know. Going to be way much improved. All right. Appreciate all the super chats coming in. Egbuka or Pearsall? Easily Egbuka today. $2 super chat from Ryan. Message retracted. If you have that question again, you could throw it in here. Appreciate that, Ryan. I have Hunter or Olave at my flex today. It's Travis Hunter for me. There. Now, they are neck and neck in my rankings if I pull up my projections. Travis Hunter's 31, Olave's 32. But outside of the fact that I have Hunter ranked higher by one spot, these two right here was the question, Hunter versus Olave. I mean, I just think that Hunter, better quarterback situation, better offensive environment, and just way more upside, right? Like, we got the news that he's going to be a full-time wide receiver. If you pay attention at all to fantasy during the August months, which again, preseason and training camp matter, you're going to have people say, it doesn't matter, it's preseason. You get news, you get usage, you get reports. All during the preseason and training camp, Travis Hunter is operating as a wide receiver, full-time wide receiver, this, that, and that. And now we just get it officially. But Hunter's ceiling is massively higher than Chris Olave's, not even close. And there's a reason why, if in most drafts, Hunter went in round 6 or maybe 5 and Olave went in round 7 or maybe 8. $2 super chat. PPR, pick 3. DJ Moore, Odunze, Olave, Downs, and Jennings. I'm going DJ Moore 1 easily, Olave 2 rather easily, And then I'll go between Jennings, Adunze, and Downs. I'll go Jennings there. The Adunze matchup, I like Adunze overall. Like for the rest of the season, out of those options, there's a world where the answer is Adunze over all those options. But for this week, Monday Night Football against Brian Flores and a Minnesota Vikings defense where Caleb Williams, they're going to test him. They're going to bring pressure. That scares me a little bit. With Kirk out, is Jaden Higgins worth a flex spot? I mean, not a flex spot unless you're in a deeper league, not in like a 10 or a 12-man league. No. No. Best bets for today. So I've taken a ton of bets for today. If you haven't seen yet, I have a separate Twitter account. Like a lot of you follow me. I think it's like 200,000 or so. Yeah, 211,000 of you follow me on my fantasy Twitter account, my main one. But I have a Sal Bets Twitter account where about 80,000 of you follow me. I put this out yesterday. These are my 20 best bets that I already took for week 1. How do you know that I took them? I put the actual receipts and slips right here of all the slips that I took. This one, $25 to win $1,400, right? 100 to win 1,000. All of them are in there just as proof. But these are the 20 picks that I took this week. There might have been like 1 or 2 other picks that I took in there like earlier in the week, but I just didn't think it was worth posting because I took it like a week ago. And like maybe it was a guy I got at like 53 yards and now it's like 65 yards and it's not even worth posting because I wouldn't take it now. So yeah, if you want to see any of those picks, you could just check out this thread. You just go to Sal Bets. This thread will pop up. Over 500,000 people have been using it so far. 2,000 people liked it, so I assume it's a helpful thread. We've been doing this now for, this will be the second year on this account, and I got a lot of good feedback last year. My Thursday and Friday night picks also went out here in a thread format. You can check it all out. It's at Sal Bets on Twitter, and then you just kind of scroll to this post, which was posted yesterday. Monday night picks will come out tomorrow over there. Same thing for Instagram. Like I have a separate account. I have my Instagram fantasy, which like 200,000 of you follow me there and enjoy it. And then there's a Sal Bets one that separates them. Yeah. Mixon just got dropped in my league. Is it smart to pick him up and drop Chubb since he's on my bench anyways? I don't think we see Mixon play football till out earliest week 7. He's out for at least 4 weeks. The Texans have a bye, I think, in week 6. So Joe Mixon at best will play football in week 7. And even then it's kind of a question. So, I mean, if you don't need Nick Chubb and you could just pick up Mixon and put him in an IR spot, sure. Sure. And just see what happens. Let's go Texas. Travis Hunter or Ridley. I'll be taking Ridley there. Favorite stack today for DK single entry small fields. Well, obviously, like the biggest stack today that everybody's going to want to take is the Browns or the Bengals stack against the Browns. I do like the Jaguars stack a decent amount today. I'm not against the Bucs stack either. The Bucs stack, you get at least 3 stacking options there to choose from. Yeah, so I'm still deciding on my single entry lineup. My 3 max lineups, I'm like pretty set with like some combination of Bengals, Jaguars, Bucks, that type of stuff. I released it yesterday for Blueprint members, but every week I do a DFS strategy article on Patreon for Blueprint Plus members, and I have my stacks tiered and ranked. I think I might have ranked like 7 or 8 this week across 3 different tiers. So if you want to see like where those shake out, you can check it out there, as well as like best plays, highest leverage plays, worst plays based on being 2-0, stuff like that. So many super chats. Don't worry, I'm going to get to all of them. I appreciate that. $5 super chat from Ryan. Dobbins or DJ Moore, and I also have Swift in my RB. So I'm definitely starting DeAndre Swift. He's a must start there, and I'm starting DJ Moore over Dobbins. Appreciate the super chat. Sean, $5 super chat. 14-man PPR, Ridley, Harvey, or Pittman. DMV area. Shout out DMV area. 14-man here. I'm starting Ridley. What do I do about Worthy? Well, he's going to miss at least 3 to 4 weeks, and there's a decent chance he has surgery and misses the entire year. So you try and get Marquise Hollywood Brown as soon as you can off your waiver wire. What do we got? I love watching your Flock videos. They're more entertaining than anything on TV. Yeah, I appreciate that. The Flock League, we're in year 2. A lot of crazy drama went out this week in the Flock League videos because of the McCaffrey news and me taking him as a top 5 pick in that draft and everybody dunking on me. So I obviously, for McCaffrey's sake, hope he's healthy today. And my fantasy leagues, out of the 5 leagues I care the most about, I have McCaffrey in 3 of them. But if Christian McCaffrey comes out there today and he dominates, and I'm saying he dominates, there's a lot of people who are going to have to eat some crow that dunked on me in that Flock League. There's a lot of people. That's all I'll say. And the videos are going to be good. Alrighty. Appreciate moderating muscles. Appreciate that a ton. $2 super chat. I need wide receiver in a flex. Pick 2. Waddle, Ibuka, and Hunter. The answer is Waddle. I don't want to be starting. I don't want to be sitting Travis Hunter today, but the answer for me is easily Ibuka and Waddle. Let's just show you right here. Hunter is my wide receiver 31. That's solid, right? But When you're talking about Waddle, wide receiver 21 points. Abuka, top 20 wide receiver today for me, 11.4 points. Pick 2 here, Ridley, Pearsall, Harvey, 1 for 1. One wide receiver and 1 flex. The wide receiver is Ridley, the flex for me. Oh, that's actually a really good question. This will be good for the flex rankings. So our options here are Pearsall and Harvey. I think I know the answer, but I'm just going to verify it just so y'all can see this. So Pearsall is my 63rd overall player. 63rd overall player is Pearsall. Harvey in the top 150 flex rankings, 72nd overall player. I'll be starting Ricky Pearsall today. This was updated this morning, by the way, so it factors in everything recent about McCaffrey, everything recent about Jawan Jennings. So everything was updated about an hour or two ago, so we're good to go on all of that. Travis Hunter, J.K. Dobbins, or Jerome Ford, pick 2. My answer there is going to be Travis Hunter and J.K. Dobbins. Drop Kupp for Eckler or Javonte Williams or Chubb. I'm keeping Cooper Kupp on my roster. I do want Eckler though. So, like, do you need to start these guys this week? If you need to start these players, I think I want Kupp on my roster. Kupp is my 83rd overall player this week. I'm trying to understand the question. I think you're asking, like, do you drop Eckler for Kupp or for Kupp for Eckler? This week I'd be starting Eckler over Kupp. So if you need a starter this week, I'll start Eckler over Kupp, if that's what you're asking. PPR, Judy or Walker? Kenneth Walker for sure. Alrighty, I think we're all caught up on the super chats. Pick 2, Pearsall, Ridley, Olave, and Swift. Swift is a guaranteed starter for me today, and then I'll go Ridley for the second one. What's up, Sal? Ravens defense or stream the Cardinals? I'll stream the Cardinals, believe it or not. I'll stream the Cardinals. Appreciate that big soul in the super chat there. $2 super chat from Lucia. Ingram or Hunter for my flex, like Hunter Henry. If it's Hunter Henry, the answer is Evan Ingram. If it's Travis Hunter, the answer is Travis Hunter. Pollard, Swift, or Shakir at my flex spot? Pollard. Oh, actually, Pollard and Swift is actually really close. I don't think I've had that question yet. Good question. Let me actually double check this just to make sure for you. Yeah, the answer is Pollard. My RB15 for 14.1 points. Swift is not that far behind. RB18 for 13 points this week. There we go. Let's get these questions going. What RB can I get for Trey McBride in a PPR? That's going to come down to your league mates. Trey McBride was a late second, early third round pick. Like, I'm thinking like a Josh Jacobs, a Bucky Irving, maybe a Chase Brown, but like there's a reason those players were probably taken before McBride in your league. If you took Trey McBride in the second or third round, the rest of your draft followed this is the problem with trying to trade before week 1 your elite players. You probably took Trey McBride in the second or third round of your draft. When you make the conscious decision to go with an elite tight end that early in your draft, and I've done it, I did it in 2 of the leagues, including the Flock League, I took McBride in the third. When you make that decision, you taking an elite tight end early shapes the rest of your draft strategy from there, from rounds 4 through 16 or however long your draft is. So to then just go and try and trade them for a running back, the rest of your roster is going to look weird. You probably didn't take another tight end. You probably ended up then having to take a ton of like wide receivers or running backs in a row because you didn't take one in round 3. So you kind of handicap yourself then when you trade them unless you get really good value for them. So I'm not looking to trade Trey McBride before week 1, right? I'm just not looking to do that. CMC going to be playing, Sal. We'll find out an hour and a half before the afternoon games. Based on all the reports right now, he's going to be playing. The only way that he probably doesn't play today is if he goes out there in pregame warmups and for some reason something feels weird, which doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. They said he didn't practice on Friday officially, but he was on the sidelines doing all these like hops and skips, and those are the types of things you wouldn't be doing, or at least you would feel something more painful if you were doing those with an injury to your calf or Achilles. So CMC seems like he's fine. He was being precautious, but will the team now be cautious with him in week 1? Maybe to start the game, but like when the bullets are flying, if McCaffrey has 10 touches and it's halftime and he's like, I feel fine, he's going to get his normal workload. At the end of the day, the only person who knows truly how McCaffrey feels is himself. But it seems like he learned from last year based on the reports of him after practice Friday when he talked to the media about like not pushing it when he feels injured. Start Pollard versus Sutton, a half PPR. We got a $70. I don't even know what that is. The first ever. What is the NT? Does anybody know what the NT currency is? If you want to, I was going to say spam it in the chat, but don't spam it. But I appreciate that super chat. I'm just trying to find out now if I'm rich and can retire off that $70 NT, or if I got to keep doing the stream. Just kidding. Okay, so the question was Pollard or Sutton. These are my top 150 flex rankings. All the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends put together in a flex rankings to compare against each other. The perfect tool for all your start-sit decisions. If you want it, go to jointheblueprint.com. Check it out. There you go. Look at that. How about that? All right, top 24. Tony Pollard is my 23rd ranked overall player. Cortland Sutton is my 30th ranked overall player. I want to be starting both of these guys. They're both top 30 players this week. So if you can get them both in your lineup somehow, great. If you can't, that means you probably have an amazing lineup. I'm starting Tony Pollard over Sutton. Do you think Tyreek Hill scores this week? I did not take Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown this week in terms of like bets. So I don't have him for that. I did take Tyreek Hill, however, and let's go and find it. I did take Tyreek Hill to have more than, I believe, 5.5 receptions, if I find it. Here we go. Yeah, I took Tyreek Hill to have more than 5.5 receptions as one of my 20 favorite bets this week. He's healthy entering week 1 against a Colts secondary that is not known for having speed, and I think the Dolphins are going to throw a lot this year. That includes week 1. Less target competition as well because Jonnu Smith's not there. Yeah. $2 super chat. Trevor Lawrence or Mike Evans in a super flex league? Well, let's just look at the projections, right? Let's figure this one out for you right here. So if we go to quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, I believe, is a top 10 quarterback for me this week, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, he's a top 8 now that some of the other quarterbacks have played, like Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. So Trevor Lawrence projected for 19.1 points. The answer is just Trevor Lawrence. I don't even have to look at Mike Evans' projection. I know damn well it's not 19.1 points. It's probably like 12 to 13. So the answer is Trevor Lawrence there in the super chat. Henderson or Abuka, Emeka Abuka for sure today out of those options. Emeka Abuka for sure today. Golden or Pittman Jr. full point PPR. I will be going with Golden. Warren or Pitts full PPR. Tyler Warren. Kupp or Debo. Debo for sure there. Debo for sure. DJ Moore or Pollard. The answer is Pollard. Pollard just he projects out so well today. The matchup is good. The overall workload volume is going to be good. You expect the offense to be slightly better than last year, both quarterback and offensive line play. Yeah, he just looks really good. Evan Ingram or Tucker Kraft today. Evan Ingram or Tucker Kraft. Let me pull up the projections and rankings. So Evan Ingram or Tucker Kraft today. I will be taking, I believe the answer is Evan Ingram, but just want Tucker Kraft. Yeah, Tucker Kraft 8th overall, Evan Ingram 10th. At the end of the day, they're both top 10. They're both projected within a point of each other. I'll take Tucker Kraft out of those two options. If it is PPR, I slightly lean more towards Evan Ingram, but I'll take Kraft there as my final answer to give you. We got a new Blueprint subscriber during the stream. Leroy, welcome in Leroy, new Blueprint subscriber. Shout out you. 5th Blueprint subscriber during the stream. I actually have to see it. We might have sold out for the week. Let me check. Whoa. Big baller just entered the chat. Salty Ironworks, crazy name. $20 super chat. Big baller on a weekend. $20 super chat. I'm about to go maybe afford a black coffee in Austin, Texas with that. Appreciate that. No, I appreciate that. Stroud or Lawrence? My answer is Lawrence, no doubt. He says, full disclosure, I have Nico Collins. One more here as well. Evan Ingram or Hawkinson. Thanks again for all the hard work that you do. I appreciate you a ton. Between Stroud and Lawrence, my answer is not even close for this one. It's Lawrence. He's an amazing play this week in all formats. DFS, season-long, player prop markets, betting, all that, right? 19.1 points. Look at CJ Stroud. All the way down here for me. 16.9. So the answer is Stroud. Now your second question is Evan Ingram versus Hawkinson. This one is going to be Hawkinson for me. Hawkinson is my tight end 7 this week. Ingram's my tight end 10. Again, they're all projected pretty similarly. We kind of know the deal with these tight ends. If your name is not Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, George Kittle, and maybe Mark Andrews this week since Isaiah likely is out, if you're not one of those names, you probably need a touchdown to pay off. Like all these other names that I'm mentioning are probably going to get somewhere between 3 and 5 catches for 30 and 50 yards, and like you're hoping for the touchdown. That being said, I will take Evan Ingram out of those options that you just gave me. Or I will take Hawkinson. Sorry for that confusion. Another super chat here from Bart. He says, where do you have Tyron Tracy ranked this week? Where do I have Tyron Tracy? Tyron Tracy ranked this week. Pull up the running back rankings. Tyron Tracy is my running back 21. He's a quality play in RB2 or flex for 11.5 fantasy points. Somebody said that I think Joe Flacco will demolish your projection today. I have him for 16.3 points. Let's keep in mind he's not a mobile quarterback. These projections are for 4-point passing touchdowns. So I think my projection for Joe Flacco is pretty fair. Like I have him projected next to Geno Smith and CJ Stroud and pretty close to Caleb Williams. Like I would consider myself high on Joe Flacco this week. Like a lot of people have, I would say Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford ranked higher than him and maybe even Cam Ward. I don't. So I'm pretty high on Joe Flacco this week relative to the market. If you think he's going to crush a 16-point projection, you better be playing a lot of Brown stacks, right? Like a lot of Joe Flacco and Njoku, Judy, run it back with Jamar Chase type stacks. I don't think Joe Flacco, like I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but I definitely don't think that he's going to have a terrible game. Like, the matchup against the Bengals allows you to have a quality game, which is why his projection is over 16 points, whereas most weeks it's probably not going to go over 15 points. Oh boy, we got people battling now. Somebody threw in a $20 super chat, so my man came out and said, Sean said, you know what? I'm throwing out 10. I'm getting Sal a half a drip coffee this week in Austin, Texas. Hey Sal, how do you feel about starting Calvin Ridley or DK Metcalf as my wide receiver too? Now, between those two options, like I feel good about starting both of them, right? Between those two options, I'm going to slightly lean to DK Metcalf here. Appreciate the super chat. DK Metcalf is my wide receiver 24 for 11.1 points. Ridley, my wide receiver 27. I don't love the offense DK Metcalf is in. I don't love that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to play slow and probably only going to throw some go routes, right? And not like to use motion. And DK Metcalf probably won't be moved much in the Arthur Smith offense. Overall, for the rest of the season and for most weeks, I'm going to like Calvin Ridley more than DK Metcalf. I took Calvin Ridley over DK Metcalf at times when they were both falling to round 5 in fantasy drafts. Ridley or Metcalf fell to round 5 and Ridley was there. But Ridley faces Patrick Surtain, and although it won't be for the entire game and it's not going to be 100% of the snaps shadowed, it will probably be for a decent amount of the snaps. Tedderell McMillan or Courtland Sutton, what do you do? Great question. I'm going to be taking probably Courtland Sutton here, but look how close they are in my rankings. Courtland Sutton, my wide receiver 12, McMillan, my wide receiver 13. But in these rankings that are available at jointheblueprint.com right now, I think there are 3 spots left if you want to join into the blueprint for this week before they close off. You get all the tools, the waivers, the game-by-game matchup notes that we showed you earlier, all these rankings and projections, the flex tools. You can check it out at jointheblueprint.com. But as of right now, I'm taking Courtland Sutton if those are my only options for there. I will be taking Mr. Courtland Sutton. $5 super chat, season long, Judy or Jumpkins? For like the rest of the season, you're saying? I want Jerry Judy there. Obviously, this week Jumpkins isn't playing. So, yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, can you put that link in the chat? Yeah, I could put the Join the Blueprint link in the chat for you. Let me pull it up right here. Hold on. This is the link to jointheblueprint.com. You can check it out if you're interested. There you go. There you go, beautiful people. Let's see if there's any more news that has come out. Most of the news will be coming out. Oh, no, it did come out. The news did come out. It's 10:30, so an hour and a half before lock. Well, actually, no. Hour and a half before lock. 10:30 Central Time is what I meant. So let's track this news, see if we got any crazy news that we weren't expecting. 29 minutes ago, Christian McCaffrey will play week 1. Okay, that's kind of been the expectation. Jackson Dart could have a package of plays today. All right. This is interesting. Quinshon Judkins is scheduled to meet with the NFL this week about the investigation, but there's a real possibility, even a likelihood, that he will make his NFL debut next week. That does not mean that he won't be suspended past that, though. I see the super chats coming in. Don't worry, I'm going to get to them in a moment as we read through this. McCaffrey is indeed good to go against the Seahawks, as Adam Schefter just reported. Perfect. I'm going to expect him to be playing. Chris Rodriguez is a healthy and active. This is big news. This is big news right here. This might not seem like big news. Healthy scratch Chris Rodriguez. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt people are going to love this. There's a reason why this is popping off already for 55 retweets compared to just 6 for Will Campbell news, right? Chris Rodriguez being inactive is massive news. I didn't think Chris Rodriguez was going to come out here and see 20 touches, but if all Chris Rodriguez did was see 8 touches, 10 touches, that hurts Austin Eckler's upside, that hurts Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's upside. Now, Jeremy McNichols is still active, so there's a chance he's involved, so we still have to see that, but this is big news. It's not Chris Rodriguez being hurt. They're saying we're healthy, scratching him, meaning that we value JCM and Jeremy McNichols more. JCM seems like he could maybe see 12 to 15 touches today after that. That is big news. That is very big news today. Darnell Mooney is inactive for week 1. That is big news. All reports made it seem like Mooney was training to play after practicing in limited fashion all week. So the biggest questionable tag that we had for week 1 outside of McCaffrey, we got kind of clarity to yesterday. Darnell Mooney being inactive is pretty big news. Now, what does this mean overall? It just means that other players are going to fill in. Ray McLeod's now going to fill in and probably see a little bit more of a target share. People will jump to being like, oh, Drake London's going to get so many more targets. No. Drake London was already going to run 30 to 35 routes, whether Darnell Mooney was out there or not. He's still going to run those same routes with the same defensive attention. Maybe Michael Penix forces an extra target now to Drake London in like a blitz situation or like an extended play. But for the most part, this just helps the other guys on the depth chart. It definitely helps Kyle Pitts' target share, you would at least like to hope. So, yeah, Darnell Mooney being out is legit. That is, he wasn't like somebody people were dying to start, but that's a starter last year who was a top 24 wide receiver when healthy for plenty of the weeks. Casey Washington is Darnell Mooney's direct backup. So, like, I'm not starting Casey Washington or David Sills, but it's at least pretty decent news, right? Andrew Thomas, we kind of knew was going to be inactive. Allen Lazard inactive, fine. Nick Chubb expected to serve as the bell cow in week 1. These are all things that we kind of knew. So that Chris Rodriguez news, quietly very important for JCM and Austin Eckler fantasy managers, not just for this week, but for the rest of the year. And then Jimmy Horn inactive, okay. And then the Darnell Mooney news is pretty big as well. So yeah, these 3 pieces of news, we kind of knew the Godwin one, but these pieces of news on the screen right now, important for today for sure. Jerome Ford or Breece Hall today, Breece Hall. Flex spot, Debo, Atten, or Mooney. Well, Mooney is now inactive, but the answer is Debo either way. Sal McCaffrey going off today. Dunk on the flock. Big Penix energy or Fields? Oof. Fields for sure. I'm going to have to make a little clip for the Flock League after this now that McCaffrey's officially ruled as will play. Gang, we are like an hour and 20 minutes away from a full slate of Sunday football games. Oh my goodness. I already got the TV on in there, the Sunday ticket. There will be 4 boxes, including a red zone box up. There will be my laptop with at least 2 other games on. Oh man, we are so close. We are so close. I got to finalize a couple of my like DFS lineups. Like I have all the entries paid. I just have to finalize some stuff that I want to do in them. And then maybe even add some more in there as well. But oh man, we are so close. It is a good time to be alive. Another person comes out and says, I see these $10 and $20 super chats. Bet. $10 dropped by Demetrius. I believe that's how you pronounce your name. If it's not, I apologize. He says, rate my team. Oh, he wants a rate my team. This man paid $10 for a rate my team. Lord, he got it at a discount. Dak Prescott, Goff. I think you only need 1 quarterback, assuming it's not a super flex. So I'll keep Dak there. Devon Achane, Chase Brown, Stevenson, Benson. Your starting RBs are solid. Your depth is thin. You know that. Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Flowers, Pickens, Diggs. Obviously, you went wide receiver heavy. It paid off. That's a good room. And Njoku and Evan Ingram. You probably slap back-to-back tight ends at some point in rounds 8 through 10. That seems decent. And then kicker and defense, I don't give a shit about. It's a 20-team non-PPR? Hold on. I was thinking this was a 12-team. This doesn't make sense. This dude has a 20-team format. There are 20 people in his league, and he landed Achane, Chase Brown, Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Flowers, Pickens, Njoku, and Ingram. I'm calling bullshit. There's no way in hell that was a 20-team league. That's got to be a 10 to 12-team league. If it's a 10-team league, you drafted okay. If it's a 12-team league, you drafted decent. You have thin depth at running back. Which you know that based on the way you drafted. DJ Moore or Olave today? DJ Moore. Another 20. Oh, man. Okay, this is funny. So, Salty comes in and says, I donated $20. I'm the head honcho here. A couple other people came in and dropped $10 bills, got these big reactions. He says, hold the phone. Another $20 bill so I can get another half a drip coffee in Austin, Texas. And he says, I have one more question. In all honesty, hashtag how rich is this guy, by the way? In all honesty, how good or bad do you see Kamara doing this year considering the horrible team he's on? Alvin Kamara for me was an avoid. He was an avoid in fantasy drafts because he was going in the 4th round. Plenty of times people took Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round because they panicked because all the running backs came off the board early, and that was a name they know, recognize, and he produced for them in the past. Alvin Kamara in round 3 or 4 for me, even in early round 5, although I wasn't as against it there, Alvin Kamara at that point in drafts wasn't somebody I wanted. He's playing on a team that's going to be truly horrendous this year. Their offensive line was banged up this year. That should be a little bit better, but truly horrendous from an offensive standpoint. The hope is that Kellen Moore can field a good offense here. Alvin Kamara himself is a little bit older. He has no competition, but he is a little bit older as well. Everybody's concerned about Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley getting older, their usage. Alvin Kamara is older than those guys, right? Same age to older than those guys, and is literally coming off of 3 straight seasons where he either missed time with injuries or was dealing with injuries in the second half of the year. So I personally, if you got him in round 3, think it's bad. Round 4, man, it's not for me. Round 5 or later, fine, but he probably didn't go there. Eckler or Dobbins today? Austin Eckler for me. I appreciate that a ton. Waddle or Olave in the flex? Definitely Waddle. Hey, Sal, need locks to smash buddies in DFS. In terms of cash lineups, Emeka Egbuka is the only quote-unquote lock today. Once you start from there, though, there's a pretty clear, 6 guys in DFS cash you should be playing today. But Emeka Egbuka is the one that'll give you right there. Oh my goodness. Ryan Royals says, screw this. Everybody's getting the big reactions for these $10 and $20 super chats. $10 super chat. Ramondre Steven or Jaylen Warren? The answer is Jaylen Warren, brother. And receivers here. Garrett Wilson, Ridley, or Hunter? Garrett Wilson and Ridley there. Sal making money today, somebody says. Yeah, we're gonna go out after this, and I'm gonna go get a bag of chips. I'm gonna go get a black coffee and like 1 or 2 other items from the store. Yeah. Pick one. Olave, Jennings, Debo, Hunter, Adunze, or Swift. This man just listed his entire team, but the answer is DeAndre Swift, believe it or not. Give us a breakdown on Jerome Ford today. Seems like you're unsure about him. I mean, personally, I don't know if I've said a single thing about Jerome Ford today. The breakdown for him, I think he's going to be the lead back. I think they trust him more in pass protection than the rookie Dylan Sampson. So for this week, if you're ever going to play Jerome Ford, if he's ever going to have a reason to be in your lineup, you play Jerome Ford this week. Jerome Ford's a quality play this week. He's going to be facing a Bengals team where they're probably going to be trailing. Jerome Ford should be on the field in passing down situations as a trusted running back who's been quality. Dylan Sampson will be involved, but Jerome Ford is a top 20 running back this week when you factor out the Thursday and Friday night games. That's where I'm at on Jerome Ford, boss man. Fields or Murray this week? Murray for me. And I hope you kick Mason's butt. Yeah, I hope it's me versus Flock Fantasy this week in the Flock League. We are bitter rivals. Although I'm going to probably be going to the guy's wedding in however long, a year or so. So I don't know how bitter we can be. And I'm probably going to go play volleyball with him on Wednesday. Actually, he's probably going to skip that bastard. Either way. Can you scroll through the value wide receiver projections, like on my DFS rankings? I don't think I would have to send them to this computer. I only have the season-long stuff in here. But if you're a member of the Blueprint, you have access. You can check them out. If you have a specific question about this guy versus that guy, definitely can help you there. Is it safe to drop Brian Robinson? I'm not a CMC owner. Well, it depends who you're dropping him for. I probably want to roster Brian Robinson in an all-12 team and probably most 10-team formats at this point. Ridley or Pearsall? Ridley. Sup, Sal? What should I do if I have CMC but somebody else in my league reached for Brian Robinson before I could draft him? Well, at that point, you have CMC and they have Brian Robinson. You're not overpaying for Brian Robinson just because you have CMC. If CMC goes down with injury and he misses significant time, your team is fucked either way. Brian Robinson is not saving the day. What you could do is pick up Isaac Arenda, who I think is a much better running back than Brian Robinson. And I think if CMC, knock on wood he doesn't, was to miss significant time at any point this year, I think eventually Isaac Arenda would become the starting running back, not Brian Robinson. They did not give up a lot to get Brian Robinson. We know what Brian Robinson is. He doesn't have juice. He doesn't have explosiveness compared to Isaac Arenda. So you could add Isaac Arenda on the cheap, but I'm not aggressively trading for Brian Robinson, even if I have McCaffrey. Emeka Egbuka or Cup today? It's easily Emeka Egbuka. That one is very, very easy there. What part of Texas are you in, Sal? I live in Austin, Texas. In my opinion, it's the greatest city in the world. I've lived here for over 4 years now. I was only supposed to live here for a year and then try out where my family lives in New York with my girlfriend. And I said, I don't want to leave. And now I don't think I will ever leave. I think my body will remain in Austin, Texas. Unless I'm traveling and pass away, unfortunately, in another state or country, my body will never not be in Austin, Texas for the end of time. Anybody who ever visits Austin, Texas, I try not to sell them on it, but it sells itself on it. And then anybody who leaves here usually tells me they want to move here. And some of those people have moved here. My cousin, my brother, my other family members are now considering it. Friends considering it. If you've never been to Austin, Texas, make sure you don't do all the touristy things. You can hit me up on the side and I can send you a huge list of things that are actually fun to do here. Some of the touristy stuff is fun. A lot of it is just like overpopulated and not in good areas. But this is the greatest city in the world. I obviously say that tongue in cheek. I haven't been to every city in the world, but I grew up in New York City. It's a nice city. It's not as good as Austin, Texas, in my opinion. I've been to London. London is a very close city. If my family lived in London, I'd probably say London is the greatest city in the world. But it's too far from all my family and friends, and I wasn't born in the UK, so I'll say Austin, Texas. Can we call you Tech Sal? Wow, Tech Sal there. Yeah, call me whatever you want. I mean, be nice about it, but you can call me whatever you want. Free. It's a free country, eh? Pick one PPR flex: Diggs, Higgins, Harvey, or Mason. Diggs. And by the way, that Higgins was Jaden Higgins, not T. Otherwise, the answer would be T. Um, Muscles, you don't gotta. I see some of these are getting blocked. You don't have to block these ones. These are just. Oh, they might be spamming it. Yeah, I guess if. Yeah, I guess if they're spamming it, I'm just noticing that. Yeah, you're good. Full PPR, Sutton or Garrett Wilson? Sutton. Somebody says, "Damn, I live in San Antonio." Yeah, I was considering coming to San Antonio next week because the UFC Noche card's there. It's just a lot. Like, I mean, it's only an hour and like 10 minutes from where I'm at, but I mean, that UFC card's gonna end at like 1 a.m, and then I really don't want to just stay over in like some random hotel. I'd rather like be back at my house. So I probably won't go. But yeah. Somebody says, smart move. New York sucks. I mean, I grew up in New York. I love visiting New York. In terms of like from the months of April to July, there's probably no better place that I've ever been to than New York City from April to July when it's not extremely humid. Well, I guess April to June, not extremely humid and not extremely cold. I mean, it's just the energy in that city is like, it's like you're literally just putting an IV of caffeine into you because the energy is insane. Austin, the Domain and Soccer Stadium is amazing. I lived in the Domain for 2 years. I've been back to the Domain twice in the last 2 years. The Domain is not Austin, Texas at all. It's a cool place. It's like an outdoor shopping mall. The Soccer Stadium, yeah, no doubt about it. That's fucking sick, that place. But the Domain is not somewhere you want to be going if you're visiting Austin, Texas. If you're here for like a week, sure, you can go see it, I guess, like if you want to shop. But it's basically just like an upscale outlets. It's a mini city. I lived there for 2 years. It's sick, but yeah. It's not anywhere near like downtown. Like if you want like the culture of the city, yeah, it's not. It's like you could be anywhere when you're in the Domain. Bell Cow, Chubb or Swift, half PPR Swift, and it's not even close. Nathan, $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a ton. Austin is cool, but it used to be way cooler. I mean, I've only lived here for 4 years, and all the 4 years, it's amazing. I don't think I've had in the past like 3 months a night where I didn't go do something. And for some people that might be like, oh, I'm an introvert. That's fine. Like you could just chill too. But like, if you want to go do an activity with any amount of strangers and you have an activity that sounds fun to you, it could be anything. It could be going on a run. It could be playing a volleyball, pickleball, spike ball in the park, boxing class, whatever, right? Listening to live music, going on some like eating adventure, like these like eating meetup things. You could literally do any of them and then you'll probably meet like 2 or 3 friends. Like no matter what age group you are, it is like the most welcoming and active city, both from like a physical health and just like active like people in the community doing stuff. And probably the best compliment I can give it is it's a big city with a small town vibe. Like it is never overwhelmed with traffic. It is never overpopulated. And you will see the same people that you met a week before on the other side of town, like in your coffee shop, like the next morning locally. And you'd be like, oh, what's up? It's small town vibes, but a big city. All right, I got to stop. You guys got me talking about Austin, Texas. I'm going to fucking sell you on it. I need to get paid by the Austin Tourist Commission. Hey, Sal, kick ass in the Flock League. I'm pulling for you. I appreciate that. My question is Jay Williams or DJ Moore? Jameson Williams there. Somebody said, so only 3 months it's good in terms of New York City. Well, weather-wise, yeah. I mean, like anywhere in the Northeast, in my opinion, sucks ass for 6 to 8 months a year because it's either raining or freezing cold. So, yeah, that's my opinion. But for those 3 or 4 months, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's worth the money for those 3 or 4 months. $5 super chat. David Montgomery or Abuka in the flex. I love what you do, bro. I appreciate you, Alex. The answer is David Montgomery for sure. $2 super chat. Do I start Sutton or David Montgomery? I also have Gibbs. The answer is Sutton there. Even if you didn't have Gibbs, the answer is Sutton there. Appreciating all these super chats. Nice. Thank you, bro. Shout out to the GOAT Fantasy Analyst. Oh, well, that's very kind. I lost Worthy. Do I play Waddle or Judy for upside? Waddle for me there. Puka or Ridley? Puka Nacua for sure, my man. Pollard or Austin Eckler? Definitely Pollard. Definitely Pollard. Waddle or Jameson Williams? Now that's a close one. The answer is going to be Jameson Williams for me, but you can see how close it is. Williams is my wide receiver 17 right here. Waddle, my wide receiver 21. $5 super chat. Jacoby Myers, Jameson Williams, or Ricky Pearsall in the flex. Jameson Williams, he's a top 20 guy. Those other guys are not even in my top 30. Sup, dude? Sal, what do you do with McCaffrey? You start him. We just got news 30 minutes ago that Christian McCaffrey, if you have not seen that news, is going to play today. He's going to play today. If Christian McCaffrey actually had an injury, right? Let's pull up the news here. Christian McCaffrey will play week 1. If he actually had an injury to his calf and didn't just think he felt something, I think this was more of a mental thing than a physical thing. maybe a little bit of soreness or tightness, and he was playing it safe. If he actually had something that Friday, it would have spiked a little bit more, and he would have felt something when he was doing hops, and the team would have shut him down. The fact that he's playing 2 days after feeling some sort of calf something, some phantom pain, in my opinion, that's what it's called, phantom pain. The fact that he's playing 2 days after that leads me to believe that Christian McCaffrey is fine, especially based off everything that happened last year by rushing him back too quick and it leading to a knee injury. $5 super chat flex, half point PPR, Mason or Pollard, and it's not even close. I appreciate it, Evan. Hey, Sal, will you be doing any DFS videos this year? I have not done any DFS videos, I think, since 2023. I might have done like 1 or 2 last year, but no, I don't plan to do any this year. My DFS strategy article is in the blueprint every week, and all the tools and projections are in there. The honest truth is I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. I'm putting out 5 YouTube videos per week on the main channel, putting out a ton of other content across all the other platforms. The newsletter now is a massive community over there. You can check out the newsletter, Fantasy Football Club, fantasy-football-club.com. All the other platforms, I just don't have the time to put together another 5 hours of work to put out another video. And the honest truth is those videos at best will get like 5,000 views, which at the end of the day, I make content about what I enjoy. I do enjoy DFS. I do enjoy season-long fantasy. If I make an extra season-long fantasy video and it gets 100,000 views, which helps not only my business, but it helps more people who are watching that video, 100,000 people, right? Compared to just 5,000 for a DFS one, like I could help 20 times more people with the same amount of effort. Why not help more people, right? And then indirectly, it helps me from like a channel health perspective, right? Obviously business perspective, whatever comes from that. If people see the video and want to partner, all that. $2 super chat, Abuka, Hunter, or Sutton, and Warren or Ingram. I don't get this. Why is it like this or that? Is this a DFS lineup? Like Sutton and Warren. So the question here is Sutton and Tyler Warren or Hunter and Abuka. So if this is like a fantasy question, like DFS, I'm taking Abuka and Hunter there. You're awesome. Should I start Imanor over Bateman? I appreciate you, Madeline. I'm going to be starting Bateman there. What do we got? Yeah. Flex, Diggs or Adunze Diggs? Appreciate the super chats. Travis Hunter, a good replacement for Worthy. Is Kupp or Travis Hunter? I'll take Travis Hunter there for the upside. And I like him more either way. There. Josh Downs a good play today? He's a fine play. Like, I don't think Josh Downs is somebody I'm jumping up and down to go get, but he's a fine play. I just want to check the updated news here. If I pull up my fantasy news list, so I don't have to look at all the other crap on Twitter, and just look at the fantasy news, which is really all I care about from this website. Note the Jets' inactive wide receiver. He was not on the injury report. He's a healthy scratch. Okay, so no other news has come out right now. So we basically got all the inactive news for 1 o'clock. Guys, we're an hour and 2 minutes away from football. Let me say that again. We're an hour and 2 minutes away from football. I know we got a little taste test on Thursday night, and the first half was fun. The second half sucks. I know we got a taste test on Friday night where it was a nice game. It's not the same as having 10 games up at the same time on your phone, your laptop, your TV. This is going to hit like crack. For an hour and a half to 3 hours, full disclaimer, I don't know what crack hits like, but it's going to hit like crack, I assume. For an hour and a half to 3 hours, it's going to hit like crack, and then there's going to be a huge letdown when these games are over tomorrow morning. But that's the game we play. $10 super chat from Tommy Gunn, dropping a hammer on the chat. He's like, oh, these people are donating $2, $4, $5. I appreciate that, by the way. This is what Tommy Gunn's saying. Drops a $10 hammer on the chat. One more question. I'm thinking about leaving TreVeyon Henderson on my bench. I have Chase Brown, Genty, and Bucky for the flex. Yeah, my man. You're leaving TreVeyon Henderson on your bench when you have subtle flex. This guy donated $10 just to flex on all our fucking head tops. This is where this guy's starting lineup is. He has my running back 11 Genty, my running back 10 Bucky Irving, and my running back 7 Chase Brown, and he just leaves $10 to be like, yeah, I'm probably going to leave Sal's running back 24 on my bench. I agree with you. You should. Subtle flex. I see what you're doing there. You're donating $10 just to show us how good your running backs are. TreVeyon Henderson, your RB4 on your bench. Jesus Christ, man, you flexed. You flexed on us, and you kind of schmacked her on your friends in the draft, it seems. Does anybody know what this is? NT $70 for the third time here. What is this? Eckler or J.K. Dobbins for the rest of the season? That's actually a tough one. Rest of season, I'll go J.K. Dobbins, knowing what we know right now. Hey, man, love the videos. Been following for a few years now. My question is Marvin Harrison or Pollard in the flex? I appreciate that. I'm going to be going with Pollard there. $2 super chat from Manuel. He says flex options: Ford, RJ Harvey or Jennings today. Let's pull up the top 150 flex rankings because I don't know the answer to this question, and this is why I built the tool and spend hours a week making projections. Jerome Ford, RJ Harvey. So Jerome Ford, RJ Harvey, or I don't know why this Nightbot keeps like banning people who put emojis, but they shouldn't be doing that. I'll have to fix that later. RJ Harvey, Jennings, or Ford here. Blah, blah, blah. So my rankings right now have it as, I think the answer is probably going to, so Ford is my 34th overall player. That's the answer. The answer is Ford, believe it or not. $5 super chat. Traded Pollard for Hawkinson. Ferguson was my starter. Still have Chase Brown, Kamara. Thoughts? I think you got fleeced in that trade. There's no way in hell I want TJ Hawkinson over Tony Pollard, Kai. So unfortunately, you had to pay $5 to ask me that, to tell you got fleeced in the trade. But I got to be honest with you, right? I can't sit here and lie. I can't sit here and lie and not tell you the right things. Trading Tony Pollard for TJ Hawkinson is a massive mistake. Tony Pollard is not only a top 20 running back until Tyjae Spears comes back, but he is a borderline top 10 running back, depending on the matchup each week, where TJ Hawkinson is just a guy. Like if you're not one of the top 3 tight ends or Mark Andrews when Isaiah Likely is out, you're basically just a guy. You already had Jake Ferguson, it seems like. So, like, you didn't need TJ Hawkinson. Ferguson was going to be fine, in my opinion. $5 super chat from Miles says, Jaylen Warren or Travion Henderson today? The answer is Warren for me. I have Pacheco and Taylor as my other RBs. I think Henderson is upside, and I kind of need that. Oh, you think you need the upside because of already starting Pacheco? I mean, I'm starting Jaylen Warren there, but if you think you need the upside, I mean, you're at the end of the day, you're setting your lineup, but I'm starting Jaylen Warren there. Ford or Monty in the flex? I'll take Jerome Ford. Flex half PPR, Pollard or Ibuka today. We had this question earlier. They're both amazing plays today, but my answer has to be Tony Pollard. Like Ibuka, if I pull it up here, he's a solid play. He's a really good play today. He's my 43rd overall player in my flex PPR rankings, top 150. But Tony Pollard is on another tier. He's my 23rd overall player, as you can see right here. Where can you get these rankings? You can get the top 150 rankings in the blueprint at jointheblueprint.com. You get way more than just the top 150 rankings, but that's just kind of like a starting point. One of the tools that we're showing here. All right, now Salty's he's really just going crazy on y'all. Another $20 super chat, $60 top donator today, which is pretty crazy, is Salty. He says, had to come back to defend my city. New York City is great. As a union iron worker who's lived and worked in New York City my life, I can tell you New York City is the best. There's a reason why we say the city that never sleeps, New York rules. I completely agree with you. As someone who grew up for 13 years in New York City, I like New York City a good deal. I think it is the greatest place I've ever been from the months of April to June/July until it gets too humid. But like any other city in the Northeast, my personal opinion, once late September comes until late April, that place sucks. Not New York City, any city in the Northeast, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Boston, any of these cities. This is my personal opinion. If I have to be inside for 6 to 8 months a year because it's too damn cold outside, which leads to like seasonal depression or just not having as much outdoor time, as somebody who loves being outdoors, as somebody who for 11 and a half months a year can wear a t-shirt and shorts outside, I found the place that is right for me, and that is only my personal opinion. New York City is a great city. It is a magical city filled with energy from the months of late April to July, in my opinion. I mean, the fall there is not terrible, but it does get pretty fucking cold. Full PPR flex, Debo, Coleman, or Diggs? Debo versus Diggs is one I haven't gotten today. Debo is my 25th wide receiver. Diggs is my 29th. The answer is Debo. Jameson, Pearsall, or Debo? Jameson Williams for me there. Jameson Williams for me there for sure. $5 super chat, PPR, Ridley, Roma Dunze, or Juwan Jennings? Ridley. Worried about Ridley with Sutton shadowing him? Yeah, here's the thing. At the end of the day, these cornerback wide receiver shadow matchups, they do happen, especially for a guy like Cortland or Patrick Surtain. But teams are going to play zone coverage the majority of the game. Then when they're in man coverage, it's not going to be 100% of those snaps. So like if we're being realistic today, there's a decent chance only 10 of the 30 routes Ridley runs will be shadow coverage by Surtain. Because 15 to 20 of them are going to be zone coverage, and another 5 to 10 are going to be another cornerback because Ridley goes into the slot or motions, right? This type of stuff. So shadow matchups are always overblown. That doesn't mean Patrick Surtain's not a good cornerback. That doesn't mean he's not going to be on Ridley for snaps in this game. He's just not going to be on them for all of them. Would you stash Brenton Strange, my starter, Tyler Warren? If so, who should I drop? JCM, Bigsby, Ford, or Allen? I wouldn't drop any of those running backs for Strange right now, especially if you have Warren. Travis Hunter's a Ricky Pearsall. Travis Hunter there for me. Travis Hunter there for me. We've been live for a little over an hour. I probably have another 5 to 10 minutes. So if you want to get your question in, make sure to get it in to Super Chat if you really want to see it. So yeah. Also, by the way, I just got an email about somebody saying like they were listening to the live stream, so they probably just got off our live stream, and they said they checked their waiver wire and Marquise Brown was available, and they were able to add Marquise Brown even though he played on Friday night. If for some reason your league doesn't lock these players, make sure you go add Marquise Brown right now. He just saw 16 targets, and Rashee Rice is going to miss another 5 games. So yeah. Obviously, that's not going to apply to the far majority of you, but it applied to somebody who just sent me an email thanking me for telling them to add Marquise Brown. That was to be for next week, but yeah, if your waivers don't lock for some reason, go for it. $5 Super Chat. Start, sit, Neighbors, McMillan, Abuka. Neighbors is an auto lock start into your lineup, and then I'll take Tedero McMillan over Abuka. Love both of them, but I'll take him there. $2 Super Chat from Mike. The message was retracted, so you can ask it again if you want. I know on one video you talked about Johnson, but you think Swift would be a good, solid RB2? Yeah, I liked Roschon Johnson in like one of those summer videos, but since then he got a foot injury and he's still not practicing from it. As of today, it seems like he's questionable, leaning doubtful to play on Monday night. So yeah, DeAndre Swift is a must start tomorrow. If Roschon Johnson doesn't play, and Kyle Monangai is going to play, but he was battling a hamstring injury, he's a 7th round rookie who cannot pass protect, DeAndre Swift might be seeing 15 plus touches tomorrow, probably will. Yeah. Metcalf or Pollard? Pollard for sure. Abuka or Kenneth Walker today? That's actually a really good question. Let me check the rankings. I think the answer is Kenneth Walker, though. Yeah, Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker for me is actually ranked extremely high. That was our first Kenneth Walker question of the day. He's my 16th overall player today when we take out the players who already played on Thursday and Friday night. $2 Super Chat. Pearsall, Debo, or Jaylen Warren today? Let's just pull it up right here. Pearsall, Debo, or Jaylen Warren. It's not going to be Pearsall. It's either going to be it's going to be Jaylen Warren. 45th overall. Debo is 52nd overall. Montgomery, Eckler, or Tillman in my flex full PPR. So it basically comes down between Montgomery and Eckler there. I think my answer is Montgomery. I'm just double checking. Yeah, Montgomery. The answer is Montgomery. There's my timer for my laundry. Got to get that shit done. Shout out Sundays. Shout out Sundays. All right, if you have a final question, get it in because we're about to end this stream and do a little final stuff for myself, for my DFS lineups, for my actual lineups, review any of this news before the games lock, and we have one of the greatest days of the year, if not the greatest, the first full football Sunday. Calvin Ridley or Dunze? The answer is Ridley there. Pearsall, Olave, Diggs. The answer is Diggs there. Jameson Williams versus Jacoby versus Olave there. Jameson Williams for sure. Flowers versus Myers. My answer is Flowers. $2 Super Chat from Bo just for fun. I appreciate the Super Chat. Appreciate the Super Chat. Ridley, Zay, or Swift today? Ridley, Zay, or Swift? Swift for sure. Drop Purdy for Hollywood Brown. I have Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I think that's fine to do. I really don't want to be dropping Brock Purdy for the rest of the year. I like Purdy more than Lawrence. For this week, I like Lawrence slightly more. But yeah, Lawrence or Purdy today, it's a coin flip. Like if I look at my projections, here's the thing. Median projections don't factor in, they factor in ceiling, but they're not accounting for it fully. Trevor Lawrence is my quarterback 8 today. Brock Purdy's my quarterback 11. They're separated by only a half a fantasy point. Purdy has the higher ceiling, no doubt about it, in my opinion. I like Trevor Lawrence more, though, if I have to pick one at the end of the day. God damn. Alrighty, we had a successful week 1 live stream. I'll be back next Sunday live. And then, by the way, waiver video tomorrow morning, video Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going 5 days a week this year with the videos on YouTube, and all the other platforms will continue to have content. Appreciate you all a ton. If you've liked these rankings that I've been showing you on the screen during this, these positional rankings, the top 150 rankings, if you like the quick game notes that we flashed to you right here, if you want the full stat projections for your, whether it's like player props or whatever else, we have those as well. Those are right here. Full stat projections for every single player and a whole lot more. Waiver wire tiers will be going up tomorrow. DFS tools today and tomorrow as well for Monday Night Football. If you like any of that and you want to be a part of the community of over 10,000 people, if you like my content, you want to have the ability to ask me questions one-on-one as well, you can check it out at jointheblueprint.com. It's also linked in the description, but it's just jointheblueprint.com. And you could become a member and you could join all of us in there. The Blueprint is basically all the tools. It's like a subscription service or membership. It's all the tools that I use in all my leagues packaged together for all of you, as well as some other community aspects like asking me questions, Discord access, all that. Appreciate the super chat. The final one there. The fantasy nuts love you, Sal. Oh my God. Oh my God. You drafted CMC, so start him. Yeah, of course. Start him. Appreciate you all a ton. And I'll see you all in the next one. I'm going to go answer some of the questions for Blueprint Plus members now exclusively.